Oops.
And I'm connected to Horrell's Wi-Fi network, which is not what I want to be.
Close enough. Here we go. Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 103 with Bill Jordan. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our private Facebook group, you should be, because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I am one of your hosts. I want to let you know that the LHRL podcast is censored. We have a family rating, a clean rating on iTunes, and we're going to do our best to keep that, although sometimes things slip, and we are on Facebook Live. So if that's the case, that is the case. But when I produce the podcast and make it live for iTunes, all of that should be bleeped out. But that won't be a problem today. I want to let you know that Lift Heavy Run Long has an app, and we want you to be a part of it. For $3.99 a month, you can be subscribed to the Lift Heavy Run Long Daily, which consists of 4 WODs a week, 4 barbell strength programs, and 3 body weight programs, which you can do your body weight exercises from your home, from your garage, from your kitchen, from your office, from your parking lot, from anyone's parking lot, from this studio. If you'd like to come here and do body weight exercises here, you can do those. We want you on the app, $3.99. For $9.99, you can be a full access member of Lift Heavy Run Long, and you will be part of the Lift Heavy Run Long community within the app, and you will have unlimited access to all of our programs, everything from 5K to 100-mile distances, barbell strength, run skill, injury prevention, and you also have access to our video galleries within the website. So you want to do that, come be on the app, come be part of the community. You'll have access to our trainer, Valerie Hunt, who is the best running coach on the planet, and she takes what she does very seriously. She's always accessible and always wants to help. So come join us there. Also, the goal is to bring fitness to as many people as possible for as low of a price as possible. So if you know someone who's struggling financially and fitness would probably benefit them, then have them email me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. They're welcome to use the app free of charge if that's something that would make a positive impact on their life. Our guest today is Mr. Bill Jordan. Bill is fresh off a 100-mile run in Wyoming. What was the name of that run?
Bighorn 100.
The Bighorn 100, and was nice enough to come limping in here. And
his walker is off camera.
I'm telling you, I can't wait to get to this guy. This guy's resume, Bill's resume, is out of this world.
And I feel like that we got the abbreviated version too.
Yeah,
I think the edited one-pager.
Yeah, that was just the one-pager version.
He's a mystery. He's a mystery. I think he's probably part of the witness protection program, because otherwise, why would you not be on Facebook all the time saying, "Look what I did, look what I ran,
look how awesome I am,"
and yet it's not there. Next to Bill,
That's a good question.
We have the Reverend Vaughn Rawls.
Hey.
How are you, Rev?
I'm fantastic, man. I'm doing good.
Tell me why you're fantastic.
Because one thing I'm excited about is you were talking about the programs that we have, and I've gotten to where I listen to a ton of podcasts. Like my list is full. I listen to a lot of them, and something that every single one of them does that kind of annoys me, but I understand it, is commercials and sponsors and things. And so they'll talk for like 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden the rando in the middle of the podcast is like, "This podcast is brought to you by $5 Shave Club," and blah, blah, blah. And let me tell you why I like to say nobody wants to listen to that at all. And I completely understand. All I do is grab my phone and hit skip 15 seconds till I get to the end of the thing. And I understand that podcast people get paid for that kind of stuff. But I think what we're doing is like cooler than that, because you will start talking, and at the end of the thing, you never have to hit the skip button unless you're not interested in what we're talking about. but
Or you can just start with the skip button.
But what we have is the programs. If you want to support the podcast, because yes, it does cost money, and we need sponsors just like everybody else does. But that's our path of doing it, is offering those programs to people, and it's not a lot of money. And so if you want to help out and make this thing even greater, that's something that you can do to go jump in and help out. And that's something that I would totally do for any other podcast. Even if I wasn't interested in the program, I would go sign up for something like that, versus just for the not having to reach over in the seat to skip that 15 minutes in the middle of the great. I mean, I did it on the way over here. It's like this lady's telling a great story, and all of a sudden it's like, skip. I just want to hear the next part of it, you know, and that really bothers me.
I wonder, just along that rant, because I've thought about that a lot too. Like, you know, so we're starting to move to this streaming model, you know, on the internet, where like a lot of shows are available like on the internet, and you can pay for commercial free.
Right.
And everybody's like, oh, I hate commercials. And then it's like, okay, well, give me $11 a month, and you don't have to watch commercials.
What?
Oh, I don't want to spend $11 a
Right.
month. No, that's stupid. No, that's too much. You know, and so I believe that you would support the podcast if they had a thing.
Well,
that you
here's the
could-
thing,
But I wonder how many people out there really are of that mentality that they'd rather spend a couple dollars than be annoyed by the commercials.
Well, it's a couple dollars or 11. That's a big thing. Like a couple dollars is not a big deal. And Wilson and I have talked about this. I play a game, this role-playing game online that's like $4 a month, and I subscribe to it because it's $4 a month. Like, and I get entertainment out of it, you know? And so I don't really get much out of it, but that $4 a month is a no-brainer. But if they said, oh, this game cost $15 a month, I'd be like, and I don't think I'm going to do that, because there's a threshold there. But $3.99 a month, you can't.
It's hard to.
What do you buy coffees for that much every single day?
It's not that hard to argue it, because people will argue it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's for sure.
People are going to argue it. That's true.
But I understand money's tight.
Anyway.
I just think it's great that people listen to us at all.
We have
part of it.
We're just trying to help feed your kids more than once a week, Wilson. I mean, that's really why we need people to sign up for the
Because if somebody's
app.
going to starve, it's going to be the kids. It ain't going to be me.
Exactly.
Well, we have people listening to the podcast while they're running.
That's wonderful.
Which is,
isn't
if
it?
that doesn't blow your mind, that's
Yeah.
the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
You know? So, there
Did
you
we
go.
talk about breaking the top 200?
No, we did not, because
We didn't have
we
a
weren't
podcast
here last week. No.
Which it's a miracle that I'm here, because the level of depression that I hit when we don't podcast.
Yes.
When I don't have a podcast, I'm very sad. And we didn't have it last week. And then I start to come out of depression because I'm so excited about this. And what do I get? The news that Amanda's not going to be here. And that hurts.
I can sense your pain.
I'm trying to stay up. And what I'm hoping is really going to bring me up out of the shallowness of all of this is our cameraman, Brian Swanson. It is so good to see you.
It's good to see you too, man. I saw you this morning at 5 a.m. I was not in this good of a mood.
No.
But I've snapped out of it, and it's a good day now.
I don't know that I've seen your Mr. Grumpy Pants before. But you were wearing your Grumpy Pants this morning.
I wore my grumpy pants this morning. I was not feeling social, and I figured I had a very short fuse, and I figured it was better for me to stay away from people than to snap at somebody and yell at them for doing something stupid. And so then I just took out little minor aggressions by like walking by and pushing you over when you weren't expecting it.
You did that, bullying, like blatant bullying.
Oh, boy.
And
I didn't know that about you, Brian.
Yeah, and my defense was going to be to come back and give him the unannounced behind sneak up hug, because I know how that bothers him.
Oh, I thought you were going to say stink palm.
No,
I'm a hugger,
That would
man.
have been better.
but I don't think that you would have taken my unannounced sneak hug so well this morning. But I tell you what, your aggression paid off in the wide, because you sure dropped the hammer on that thing.
I Gave it almost all I had.
30 minutes of 400-meter runs, 500-meter rows, and 800-meter bikes. And I thought, all right, I see Mr. Tough Guy up there running it out. I'm going to get him on this row, and we're going to level some of this off.
No, that's not the place you beat Brian at.
Well, I found that out this morning. And I also found out that you don't beat him on the bike, and you're not going to beat him on the next run, and you're not going to beat him on the next row or the next bike because the gap widened significantly.
It felt good.
You did well.
I appreciate it.
You did well.
I came up 54 meters shy of 5 rounds, which basically means that I didn't start my all-out sprint in the last, 15 or 20 seconds soon enough.
Well, then Brian gets on his back and he's laying, wallowing around. And Kendall walks by and she goes, Brian, if you were a real athlete, you'd be recovered by now.
Ooh. Zing.
Oh, and further zing from indirectly from Kendall, her boyfriend actually finished 5 rounds.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah, he's on fire.
Like
he's
well, and then just the added zinger was when he posted it at Sugar Wad. He's like, 5 rounds, still nursing a hurt knee.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Well, to be fair, he needs to be tested for PEDs.
That's the same thing as that's almost as annoying as when people say, just doing a little 400-pound back squat.
Right.
Just a few reps of 6 at 300-pound bench press. It's like, don't say that. Don't say little.
Don't post
the top.
Don't post the top score of the day and be like, nursing a hurt knee.
Just a few mile splits at 5:30. It's not a big deal.
Just a nice easy rest day with 4-minute miles. It's like, come on, man, just stop. Get out of here.
Billy McKeon says, "Hey, she works with Bill."
I was going to ask you if you're going to take care of our audience. I think I saw Steve Wilk on there. I don't want my boy watching and not getting the attention that he deserves.
Oh, he's getting the attention.
He's a good dude.
He's commenting on the workout. He says the bike would kill him.
He would handle it. He's the man. We got Wads for Paws coming up. It's
going to be awesome.
There's really no reason not to do that. It's not very expensive. It's for a good cause. How much is it? Not very.
It's like
$130 or $135 for a team of 2.
Yeah, and it goes to rescue all the baby animals in the world.
Goes to the Hoof and Hound Pet Rescue. All 4 of the WODs have officially been announced now, so those that were sitting on the sidelines wondering whether or not they could handle the workouts now know what they are.
Well, for the record, this is a competition that we're having at our gym.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a 2-person competition, and you have to sign up for it and register, and then Saturday you can come out and compete with your partner.
Nice.
And do all 4 workouts.
Nice.
And now that the WODs have been announced, Chris Miller and I have decided to
not to do it.
move from the scaled division to the RX division so that we can actually be the dead last finishers.
The reason I wanted to explain is because I have a history of coaching Saturday morning classes, and a couple of Saturdays ago, there were several people in there that were like, somebody was like, hey, we're having a thing, Watts for Paws, come out and do the workout. And on the 30th, well, and I know those people will show up and be like, I'm going to do the workout. And it's like, oh, well, it's a competition. You have to register.
It's a fundraiser, yeah.
Right.
You want me to pay? Right. I can't save dogs for free.
Somebody will walk in and be
like, I pet dogs.
I've never done CrossFit before.
Bunch of jerk-offs.
Can I just jump in on this workout?
Yeah, and then it's going to get out. Every Saturday you go, it's going to cost you $65. That's what happened. I want to talk about, I don't know, I was going to say I want to talk about my chafe, but I don't want to talk too much about my chafe. I want to talk about a product that I work outside.
Is this the advertisement that Vaughn was avoiding?
This is not. I'm not aware of it. But
Bear Butter. Y'all ever heard of that?
Yeah.
I have not.
Didn't we have that guy on our podcast?
Ed Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's up and running, and he's selling that stuff, and it's fantastic. I work outside. I'm walking around in jeans in 100-degree weather, slinging fertilizer. A lot of walking, a lot of stuff going on there. It's not real comfortable.
Is this to keep you from chafing or to heal chafing?
It
after
does
the fact?
both.
Okay.
I used it to keep from chafing, like on my runs. But what I found is that it probably does a better job of healing the chafe than it does
keeping
it from it.
You're exempt from the commercial rule because the person has been on the podcast and you actually love the product.
Yeah, this is good product.
Right.
Bear
I love
Butter
that.
is what it's called.
Bear Butter.
It is great stuff.
Bear Butter is not a sponsor of this podcast.
Well, they're welcome to be
I feel like
because he's been on the show and we love the product.
Right.
So
I feel, and he also pays the $3.99 to be part
There-
of
and
Lift
there
Heavy
you
Run
go.
Long.
There you
Never
go.
logs in, never uses the app, doesn't have any need for it at all. He's just a guy who supports
well,
the cause.
Tailwind is also not a sponsor of this program, but I love that product, and maybe they need to sign up for the $3.99.
I think that we should have a section for just fat people and fat people products, and I could kind of spearhead that, and we would call it PHATASSPHUQ. I think that, and then I could bring all of my products that I use to keep what happens to fat people from happening to other fat people, and I would basically be like, I guess, like the Jesus Christ of fat people.
You can sell recipes,
Yeah. I guess people already do that.
gas
don't they?
station food, where to get the best.
Where to get the best gas station food and how to safely protect your nipples. Will y'all do the Highland Games with me?
Is this the wearing the kilt and throwing boulders around and stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
It's definitely a possibility. When is that? I feel like that's going to be like Tortoise Weekend or something like that. Like, since everything is
it's
happening.
October the 6th.
Everything
No,
is happening that weekend.
No, I think it's September the 12th or something like that.
Where is it? That's
It's in Nashville. Right
Ish.
outside of Nashville.
Ish, I was going to say.
on this side of Nashville or that side of Nashville?
Southeast of Nashville, I believe, is the answer to that question.
So I don't know what that really means.
That
I'm
means
not-
other side of
Other
Nashville.
side.
The
Go
other side
into
of
Nashville, head south.
Like an hour to get to the other
Okay.
side.
we should do it. I would document it. I could film the whole thing obnoxiously.
Crystal
and
Lander says it's September 8th.
September 8th. So I was pretty close. 4
Is
days.
that Memorial Labor Day weekend?
I just need y'all's willingness. We can work out the. Will you do it?
I would totally do it, but I got to get there and do all these things.
We
and
can
there's
get
a
you
lot of
there.
logistics
I
and
can get
stuff
you
like
there.
that.
Do I need to pull up my spreadsheet and see if I'm free that weekend?
I just need a yes.
I'm down for anything
Let me pull up the spreadsheet.
as long as
It's gonna. If you don't go, it's gonna disappoint me. So might as well at least say yes for
I'll
now.
go. We'll get Bear Butter to sponsor us
Perfect.
to go, and that it's a no
and
brainer.
you'll drink
helicopter.
Tailwind all weekend
And I'll drink
and
Tailwind.
slather yourselves in Bear
That's
Bear
right.
butter.
There you go.
I want to share something with y'all.
Please do.
Do you know what that something is that I want to share?
A 5-star review.
Not only one 5-star review.
What?
But let me tell you what I'm doing. I'm breaking them. We received so many 5-star reviews after just begging people to give us 5-star reviews and posting that I'm going to have to break them off into different weeks.
You're gonna have to have some in like reserve.
Yep.
Reserve.
Yep. That
Wow.
way I've got, happiness in a bottle.
This
I don't
is
have
what
to-
happens when you break into the top 200 of the nutrition and fitness category in iTunes.
You think that's
This is
it?
what you. This is
People-
what happens when you beg
when you
shamelessly.
beg,
No, no,
when
it's
you
not.
post,
What
like
it's
here's
what
how you do
happens.
it. Here's a video.
It's what happens when people fire up their podcast app and they see your podcast
You're
right
aw-
there on their
you're
screen
awesome.
because you're one of the best ones.
And I'll bet you the fact that we're getting all these reviews is helping push that up, since we really don't know what the algorithm is that's allowing us to be in
Yes. Yes.
If you care about us at all and me and my happiness,
there. And sanity.
a 5-star review is really what you could give me for my birthday. But someone did, and I'm going to read it right now.
Do it.
Let's hear it.
Here's the top 200. There's somebody paying attention. 5 stars, B-Dice 11. Been listening a long time. Great people with real life stories and real life advice to help get you motivated and keep you inspired. Full of laughter and good times. Awesome.
She's listening live right now.
Well, thank you for that review.
Who is it?
Speed Ice, Brittany.
Brittany.
Dicerode.
I'm not real quick at figuring these things out.
Oh,
Well,
I
to-
call her B Dice.
Well, to be fair, I followed her on Twitter for a long time, and so that's how I know.
Yeah, I think it's Brit Dice 11 on
Yeah,
Twitter or
something
something
like
like
that.
that.
Thank you, Brittany. And this other one I think I got figured out. Lift Heavy Run Long, 5 stars by Valerie Run ATX.
We know her too.
Building a community, uniting the lifting and running community as the growth continues. Enjoy listening to the host, always welcoming and positive, and the guests are always entertaining. Really appreciate that everyone is welcome, any strength or speed. Thank you, Valerie.
Boom.
And then the other 5 of them I have put away.
There you go.
And I will
Wow.
read some next week.
They're just
And
piling
the
up.
week after that.
You're going to need like a second box to store those in. If you get too many more.
Well,
like,
that's what
for
I want.
reserve.
That's what I want. But don't stop. This is
Don't
like
stop.
the
Yeah,
people on the
exactly.
telethon when they're raising money. Like, don't stop. We still got
And
cars.
somebody just signed up for the
Somebody
app.
just signed up for the app. Wendy Hart. Thank you, Wendy.
Wherever you may be.
Life is good. Now
Sorry about that, Bill.
we're going.
We warned him ahead of time.
I already told him how it was going to go down. He's not too thrown off.
Nope, not at all.
Bill Jordan, how are you, sir?
Very good. Very good. Great to be here.
Man, it's great to have you. Our mutual friend Sean Hillsdale
Yeah. Yep.
put me in touch.
Yep.
And he said that you were everything that you are. He said, man, he's not braggadocious. He just kind of does his thing. He's not all over Facebook. He's really kind of hard to find in terms of his accomplishments, but man, he's an animal. And then I pried you to give me some information, and whoa, you have done some stuff.
Yeah. Been fortunate.
How many ultra races?
So this last one was like 56.
56
or
ultras.
so ultras. 700s.
Wow.
Yeah.
7 100-mile races, kayaking,
Kayaking.
mountain biking.
Mountain biking.
You said that you did some odd number of endurance races over 24 hours.
Yeah. The adventure racing.
Okay, what
So-
is adventure racing? Just anything over 24 hours?
No,
Or
so
is
adventure racing is a really unique sport. It's running, biking, kayaking, climbing, swimming, any kind of endurance event, all thrown together, and it's all navigation based.
Right. So you don't know where you're going.
don't
You have
know-
to figure it out.
Yeah, you get a map. You have a map. You're not allowed to use any electronics. You get a map and an old school compass, and you're given. The race directors will give you UTM points that you plot on the map, and so you figure out how you want to go from A to B to C. And there's no
What's UTM? Something geographically
It's a
oriented.
geographical point on the map.
Okay.
And basically, there's no rules in terms of you can take a road. If you want to take a road, you can cut through the trail, woods. If you bushwhack, it's just however you think you can get to those different points the fastest.
And do you have to carry your stuff with you, or how does that work?
Yeah, and generally there'll be transition areas. So let's say you're going from the run to the bike. So you'll have to have everything you need for that run section.
I got you. So they say, okay, you guys are going to run from this point to this
that
point.
point,
Figure
yep.
out how to run there.
Yep.
Now you're going to boat from this point to this
Yep.
point. Figure out how you're going
Figure out
to
how to
get
get
there.
there and
Gotcha.
carry all your stuff you need until you get to that next
Okay.
point. Yep.
That makes sense.
But you know going into it that you're going to have to run. You know what events you're going to be. Say events.
You know roughly, but you typically won't know the sequence, the distances, or anything like that, because the distances will vary based on what route you select. You can choose to say, I'm not going to take a chance of getting lost. I'm just going to stay on trails and roads and all that stuff. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to take whatever the shortest line is and bushwhack it through the woods, and hope I'm going to rely on my compass.
That's kind of crazy.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
It's
intense.
really, so what's really crazy about the race is and a lot of times what it is, there'll be checkpoint, like orienteering points out on the course, and you can get them in any sequence you want. So you'll pass teams, and you won't know if that team's ahead of you or behind you, because they could be going in an opposite direction that you're going. They might be going in a clockwise direction versus a counterclockwise or something like that. So it's a really, it's just a crazy sport.
Well, and your mind has to get so spun with fatigue
Yeah.
that your decisions can't be that good while you're out there.
You can start to fail there, yeah. And so the other dynamic of those races typically are they're multi-person teams. So 3-person, 4-person teams that you have to stay together. So you get into the dynamic also then of you're only as fast as your slowest person is, right? And so you have to work together to get that person along. And
you're with that, not like a relay. You're
right.
You're
You have to be
with
together the entire time, and a lot of them are co-ed. So you have to have a female, or it could be a 3 females and 1 man or something like that.
Do you have any kind of training in like navigation in that respect or anything like that? I've talked about this with a friend of mine who's in the Army and has this kind of training to do that sort of thing. And I feel like I need that kind of person to do something like that, because I don't even know.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking that as he's describing this, that like this sounds like a start of a bad story where Wilson, Vaughn, and Brian get lost in the woods,
and you don't know where you're going. But you need a guy.
They saw us leave the start, and
I need a guy that's trained an Eagle Scout or some dude that was in the Army that knows how to read a map and a compass and say.
So you definitely have to have someone that's your primary navigator that just is confident in and competent in their abilities in the woods with a map, because when you get up into the mountains, especially, and you're up and down into ravines and everything, trying to really figure out where you are at any point in time, it's tough.
Is that a learnable skill?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't have any sense of direction.
It comes through doing it though. It's through repetition. Like I haven't done a race like that in a couple of years, so I couldn't just pick it up and start again right now. It'd be really tough. Really tough to do.
Would you have to practice for it? Like if you said, in December, I'm going to go do this adventure race. I need to start.
We'd actually go out and set up courses for each other. So like I'd go out and I'd put flags out in the woods and mark them, and then I'd give those coordinates to my friend, and he'd go try to navigate to those points, and then he'd do the same for me. So we just train.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just help train each other that way.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Now you're a high school athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And what were your sports in high school?
So, junior high, I played baseball, basketball, football, and then as I got into high school, I really just switched to just football and focused on that. And I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship for playing football to college. So that was that's why I stopped to focus on football, because I was, my coaches told me I had that ability or that potential to get a scholarship if I applied myself. So
Where did you play high school?
I grew up in a small town, Medina, Ohio. The high school was Cloverleaf High School, so pretty rural high school. It was a great experience. Really great experience growing up and just focusing on football, and that's really where I started. All the weightlifting and everything like that. And
what position did you play?
I was linebacker. So I played linebacker in college at 220 pounds.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. So I was a totally different size person at that time.
Yeah. How tall are you?
6'1".
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you play college football?
Hillsdale College up in Michigan.
All right.
So Division II school, really, really good school, good football program, one of the winningest Division II programs in the country. And that was a really, really cool experience playing that. But football definitely goes from something really fun in high school to being a job in college.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
It's a job in high school, depending on where you play.
Yeah, and you get into college, and then there is no off season. I mean, you might not be playing games, but you're in the training room. You're doing drills all season long, and then you have spring practice, and so it's a full-time commitment.
I can only imagine. You see that there are so few people from a high school team that go to play any level of collegiate football or collegiate sports. And the ones that do go are extremely talented.
Yeah.
And I have a friend of mine who went to go play for Mississippi State, which is, D1. And he said they just all hit so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Every one of them. You take the very best player from every school, and that's who's hitting you. Yeah. Every time.
And that's a big ego thing too, honestly, when you you go from being the guy on your football team in high school, right? Now you're just an average guy on when you get to college and you're getting beat up and you're like, these guys are just pounding on you.
Yeah. And so then after you get done with playing football in college, how do you transition into the running and all that?
Yeah, it was a interesting transition, because I was like, I was still lifting heavy, and then I'm like, well, do I want to keep doing that? And then it was a pretty natural transition though. I moved to Vermont for a job, and never been to Vermont, just moved there for work, and got into canoe racing.
What kind of work do you do? At
the time I was working as in operation manufacturing for Energizer battery. That's what I moved to Vermont for.
Okay.
In production ops. And So I got into canoe and kayak racing just because that's a big thing in Vermont or the whole New England area. And as part of that, then I just started to, skinny down a little bit, shed some pounds, and get more into the endurance side. And then it just, that whole thing just took off. And everything gets longer, right? Same with running. You start off with a short canoe race, and you kind of get the bug. And I'm like, okay, what if I do a little bit longer?
Did you move there by yourself?
Yeah.
So so it was literally a thing where you like moved to this town by yourself.
Showed up.
Like, what am I going to do? Yeah. Oh, that looks fun. Let me go try this.
Just to kind of be social, just to jump into. I mean, that's like what everybody does up there, and just everybody's got a canoe or kayak on the top of their car driving around, and so.
So there was never a post-football, eat a bunch of Twinkies, get fat, and develop a drug habit?
Fortunately, no. I was able to just keep.
Okay. And how does canoe and kayaking lead to running?
I think it was more just the culture and the groups that you fall into then, right? So you get in the canoe and kayak group, and then you're starting to just talk to people, and they're like, oh, you should try this, go come mountain bike with us. And I'm like, well, I don't even own a mountain bike. Well, you can borrow mine, And so then you just, okay, now I like the mountain bikes. Now I gotta go buy a mountain bike. So it's just, you just kind of fall in line with these other groups, and you meet new people that way, and just your whole exposure expands so much to different sports.
Are you still lifting weights during this time period?
Yeah, I do, and I still do today. I do some, not nearly like what I used to do at all, but obviously, but I think it's really important that you do both for balance. I know a lot of endurance athletes that don't lift weights, and I think they're more prone to injury, just by not having that balance. So
if I could just make all of them squat, that's what I would do.
Just
nothing
core,
else, just squat.
Core, yeah.
Can you just do that?
Yeah.
Once or twice a week.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep.
And they would be so much better.
Yeah. It makes a huge difference.
I don't know what difference it would make as far as the point I'm trying to make is that I don't have any idea what would behoove someone, from an athletic standpoint, but from a fun standpoint and a happiness standpoint, I think there's so much to be said for squatting, and deadlifting, and just trying that. People are so quick to say like, no, you run or you lift, but you don't do both. Right. But I think that everybody at some point in their life needs to try to put a barbell on their back and see how that makes them feel.
I want to take one of these guys that wins these 100-mile races and just like as an experiment and be like, can I just put you on a strength program for 6 months to a year and just see what happens?
So it's funny,
even if you don't win anymore. Right. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But let's just see
maybe your career goes long.
Let's just see what happens.
There's a Team USA marathoner, Ryan
Hall.
Ryan Hall. Yeah. So when he retired from like marathoning, he started lifting weights, and so he was a scrawny-looking twig, and now he looks jacked. And I'd be curious to see if he still runs at all and like see how fast he is now, because he was having that problem. Well, he was self-coaching, and he was getting injured all the time.
He was an Olympian?
Yeah.
Self-coached Olympian?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds crazy.
He's like a 2:15 marathon or something like that.
Yeah,
He was crazy.
He was good.
Fast. Yeah.
But so it would be interesting to see like if he still runs and like how fast he runs now that he's jacked.
Yeah.
What was your first distance? Running race, foot race? There's not a lot of linebackers out there that are just dying to go participate.
No. Yeah, I probably started off like everybody at a 5K or something like that, and honestly, I've run very few road type events. I've run one marathon in my life, and not much desire.
One and done. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
I just love the woods. I love being on the trails.
I like that.
Yeah.
So the culture of Vermont is what got you as much as anything else.
And I grew up in I won't say a farm, but we had 80 acres of land and woods and trails, and I just kind of grew up as a kid playing in the woods, and I think that still translates today for me. I just love being out in the woods. So I'd much rather suffer on a trail than suffer on a road.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And I like that viewpoint. That's what I like, is getting out there and just getting lost for a long period of time. And a lot of times it is the time as much as it is anything else. I got a lot of a lot of demons to kill, and I need a lot of time to do that. And it's not. I just want to be kind of out moving around, and really the speed is
It's
not
easy to do that
relevant.
in the woods.
Yeah,
it's
it
easy
is.
to go to the bathroom in the woods.
That's right.
It's easy to sit down and throw up in the woods.
Yep.
Than it is like if you're running a road marathon and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to pee and or throw up and poop or whatever. I can't do it in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
It's much easier to be in the woods.
And just nothing hurts in the woods. Everything hurts on the road.
That's true.
God, everything hurts on the road. You talked about your hip flexor bothering you in the 100-mile races. Do you have any issues that have been ongoing since college athletics?
No, I've been really fortunate. I mean, I think I played 8 years of football, and I really don't have any knee issues, shoulder issues, or anything like that. So I've been really, really fortunate injury-wise. And this, the thing, whatever it is with my hip, it'll sort itself out.
Are you talking about during race or?
I had the injury kind of going into it. I strained it, and it just, I was telling earlier, it got me about 85 miles into this 100. In the last 15 miles, it kind of just said, okay, I'm done. And it was a little bit of a death march into the finish, but I don't know what it is. I have to, I do probably need to go to the doctor and get it looked at just to just make sure there's nothing, seriously wrong. But
how do you go from 85 to 100 overcoming something like that?
At that point, you're just in that suffer mindset. Just put your head down and suffer through it, and I was still able to jog. I was jogging a little bit down, where I could down some roads and the last that race, this Bighorn race was so, it was just a disaster in terms of the weather. It hailed on us and it rained on us, and the trails were just a muddy mess.
Oh, man.
I mean, so the movement was slow to begin with, and so you were having to pick and choose when you're going to run anyway, when you're going to expend that energy to try to run through that slog, and but so for a long time I didn't really think the hip would really impact my time that much.
Does your entire existence revolve around these races? I mean, is all your nutrition, all of your training all the time? Yeah.
When I focus on, like this race, the Bighorn race was my A race for this year. It's a Hard Rock 100 qualifier, which is really my ultimate goal, to do the Hard Rock 100. And so I put a lot of effort into that. So even my other races that I've done this year were really lead up races or training races for this event. And my nutrition and everything, I focus around that as well. So but I cheat a little bit too on the,
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny I don't like a nice large pizza every once in a while, or some cheeseburgers.
Well, if you're going to run 100 miles, there needs to be some kind of reward at the end of it.
Some balance there, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you're not going to run at all, there needs to be.
Well, both extremes, right? Yeah.
Well, I was trying to read up on the Bighorn race that you did this weekend, and I was laughing because that is what when you go to read up on a Bighorn, a race like the Bighorn, that's what you get, which is no information.
Yeah.
Like, this is just kind of, here's where you park, here's where it's located, and there's no background.
Yeah.
So when you sign up for something like this, are you just relying on what friends have told you about it?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's, fortunately the ultra running community is very, very friendly, and, I've got lots of friends that have done that race before. So I was definitely reaching out to them, trying to get some beta on, what the course is really like, what should I expect when, because there's a lot of, this course especially, probably more than any other race, had a lot of nuances in terms of the weather. You're going into canyons that were really hot. You're coming out of these canyons, climbing up 3,000 feet so you go from 80 degrees to 50 degrees and
oh, wow.
windy, it's just that. And so the exposure goes really quick, and then you get into the nighttime and the temperatures drop down in the 40s and you're wet. And so fortunately they told me that up front, and I packed a lot of the right, I had a lot of the right clothes.
What, did you go by yourself or?
I did, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no crew or pacers or anything like that. So,
did you put everything in drop?
Yeah, I had some drop bags.
Boxes,
yeah, I had some drop bags, and they had 3 different locations where you could use drop bags on the course. So I used those for warm clothes and lights and stuff for the nighttime portion of the race. Yeah.
So this was number what of 100?
This was 7, number 7.
Number 7. Yeah. So how many of those have you gone to by yourself?
6 out of the 7.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I've never used a pacer. I've had one crew for one race, which does make a difference. You can get through aid stations a lot faster with a crew, but most of my
just for support.
Yeah, even emotionally, just to have someone, just to know that you're going to go see a familiar face when you get to an aid station, especially after when you get into those longer late night hours and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a strong opinion about pacers?
No, I think I see the benefit of them. Definitely. I know that my times could be faster if I used them. I'm not against them, but there's just a part of me I just like the kind of old school.
Yeah.
Solitude.
Just go do it. Yeah. And
the reason I ask, I was watching an argument go on Facebook about whether that's not cheating, but whether it should be, whether you is more accomplished. Are we too soft is basically what was being said. Yeah. And I don't have an opinion on any of that kind of stuff. And, I think that all of that kind of distance racing is a, you-oriented thing.
Right.
And it's not about anybody else.
That's right.
I try to keep out of any of that.
I think at the end of the day, you're still doing the mileage. You're still running 100 miles or whatever distance it is you're using a pacer for. And the pacers just give you that. They just, I know at night, like that's the time when it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're slogging through the woods. That's when a pacer makes a big difference because you're starting to check out and you're tired and your body's just screaming to slow down. That pacer can kind of keep you pushing along.
I'm sorry. Did you travel by yourself?
Yeah.
There?
Yeah.
And you're just all by yourself.
I just showed up, man. Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah. That is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure I don't know if a lot of people do that or not, but I would never go to run 100 miles without everybody knowing that I'm going. And
nobody's at the starting line. Nobody's going to be at the finish.
I just can't imagine that.
Yeah,
what is that like? And what is that like at 3 o'clock in the morning, where there's nobody waiting for you?
Yeah, that's the mental aspect that you really have to focus on. And you know what? This Bighorn had a lot of runners. I think it started out with like 340 runners, 350 runners. So there was some people at night that you could, if you found someone that you're kind of similar pace with, you could catch up with and just talk, just to keep each other going. But then I found myself for hours on end by myself too. So there's long sections.
But then having to remember that I need to get this thing out of the box.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to have this because of
I
this.
leave myself little notes.
It's got to be amazingly hard to do that by yourself.
You have to. That's probably the biggest part is planning your drop bags. Don't just throw a bunch of crap in a bag and think you'll figure it out, because you'll screw it up. right? You will absolutely screw it up. So I plan. I have big, pick this bag up first, like notes on everything. Like,
nice.
Literally, like I'm a little kid. I'm like, take this, do not take this, leave this.
I did one last year, and at the end, like 95 miles, I go to grab my bag, and that's what I do, is just toss everything in the thing. But they had started using it as a garbage bag, so I'm going through it, and I'm pulling used Red Bull cans out,
man.
and like goo packages, and I'm like, oh God, what is this?
Yep.
I can't imagine.
Yep. Yeah, so you have to really plan ahead, and if you're going to go by yourself, and just make sure everything's separated, Ziploc bags, just notes on everything.
Do you like that? Are you going after that chaotic mental feeling where everything's broke down and exhaustion?
Yeah, I like the idea of suffering and finding kind of that, getting to some depth that you haven't gotten to before, and coming out the other side of it, because it's pretty cool when you can look back. Obviously it sucks when you're going through it, but when you get through it, and you're able to look back, you're like, man, that was tough. That was really tough, and I did it. And then next time it's not as tough, and you can push a little harder. So that's really kind of the piece I really like about these races. And I only seem to really, it's got, for me, that's the 100, that 100 miler is what really gets you to the end of that space.
That's a completely
Oh, I don't think you
different
know
animal.
how much Wilson and I can suffer on a 50K.
I think there's a time thing to it. Like when you're out there I don't know how long it took you to run 100 miles, but
this was 28 for this one.
28 hours. You don't, until you get to that point, you don't understand what it's like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just it's a spiritual thing.
It is. Yeah. It's so mental, right? I mean, your body's just kind of in some kind of robotic motion at that point. It's just doing its thing, and you have to overcome the mental aspect of it to keep pushing through it. Yeah.
I saw where I didn't see how many times you finished it. Let's see. 4-time finisher of 3 days at Silamo.
Yeah. One of my favorite races.
To me seems nuts.
Favorite race.
Oh my God.
What's the mileage on each day?
It's you start Friday. It's a 50K on Friday, 50 miler on Saturday, and then like a 14 on Sunday. And
So are you familiar with the Sillamore 50K?
yeah. Yep.
Where is that in relation to the 50K that you run? Is that the same thing?
It's a different course. Everything starts at the Blanchard Springs campground.
Which one is that?
You run through on the 50K. You run through Blanchard Springs and go out to
That's the
Gunner Pool or something like that.
That's second.
Gunner Pool
I
the
think
turnaround?
I think Blanchard Springs is the second aid station.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so everything starts and finishes at Blanchard, and the cool thing about the Silamo race is he changes the course up every year, so you don't always run the same. He tries to find new trails. Sometimes you're bushwhacking a little bit, and you go out one direction one year and out another direction another year, and for the 50K versus the 50 miler. So I love that. I love that it changes up. I also love the strategy of having to pace yourself on the 50K, because the 50 miler makes or breaks the race. I mean, that's the race, is the 50 mile day. So some guys will go out.
It is a 3-day race where they're tallying all
total
times.
cumulative time. Yeah. So you could go out and blast out a fast 50K, but if you blow out your legs, and then you could lose hours on the 50 mile section, because that's such a big long distance. So
there's a big difference between like running 100 miles in 24, 28 hours or whatever, and then doing 3 long races on 3 days. There's one in Chattanooga that I've always wanted to do.
Race, yeah.
It's like 20 miles every day.
Yep.
But one of the things that keeps me from doing that is recovery.
Yeah.
But after the first race, like, it doesn't matter. It seems like in my head, like, it doesn't matter if I run a marathon one day. I don't want to go run another marathon the next day. What do you do to like recover to go into especially going from a 50K to a 50 miler the next day?
Yeah, so that's the day. The Friday night you get done with the 50K. You just got to get off your feet. I take various supplements, just to help recover nutrition in my body. I use a lot of Hammer products. So I use like the tissue rejuvenator from Hammer Nutrition. And then obviously I try not to take like Advil or anything like that. Honestly, I try to stay away from that stuff. But just anything that can help recover my muscles, and then just stretching, using the foam rollers and stuff like that, and then just nutrition, eating and drinking, getting hydrated.
Are blisters an issue for you?
No, I'm lucky. I don't often have blister issues with my feet. So I'm very fortunate there.
Just curious, how fast are you running the 50K on that first day?
My 50K my best time is probably like a 5:30 or something like that.
Okay.
5:25, 50K. For me, that's a comfortable. I'm not pushing really hard, but I'm still pushing. And then the 50 miler is usually like a 10-hour 50 miler.
So you leave the race, get your supplements, get your food. Do you just go straight to bed and I'm going to sleep until time to go tomorrow?
I tend to hang out. I mean, the last 3 out of the 4 years, I've actually camped out down there at the Blanchard Springs campground. So,
oh man, like in a tent.
Yeah, in a tent on the ground, man.
What are you sleeping on? Just like the ground,
air
or?
mattress, like a camping mattress. Yeah. Not like a really skinny backpacking one. It's got a little bit of a little bit of comfort to it, but still, it's not a nice down bed either. So
I was telling him I need a hotel. I need like a bed made of pudding. I need everything soft.
Well, maybe that's almost
massages.
worse because that's what I do. Like I'll run a long race. It's like, let's go get the beer and let's go to the hotel and hang out and then go to sleep. And the next day I wake up and I'm trashed. But if you're,
I think if you're really focused on getting hydrated, that's a big thing too. Rehydrating quickly, getting rehydrated, getting some calories in, stretching, rolling out your muscles, and then just you're relaxing. And that's the cool thing about that race is it's very much a community, and you see the same people year after year, and everyone's camping out, just hanging out by the fire, having a good time, and it's just it's a great kind of a grassroots race.
Is there a mile where it kicks in? I'm sure you wake up and you feel pretty spent, and there's a side of you that's like, "Ooh, this is going to be hard." Is there a mile on the second day, like mile 8 or mile 9, where it's like, "Okay, I'm coming back to life"?
Yeah. So usually it's Saturday morning on the 50 miler. It's an early start. It's like a 6 a.m. start. You kind of that first mile, and it usually starts on a climb because
oh God, I'm doing this again.
Yeah, Blanchard's in a kind of the bottom riverbed area, and so you're going wherever direction we go, you're climbing out of it, and you get some muscles are rejecting you're wanting to run a little bit at the first mile or two, but you ease in pretty quick. You ease in pretty quick, and then and honestly, from once you get through that first couple miles, it's just like any other run. Day 3 is a different story. Day 3, you hear this cumulative groan, and then they start.
I'm just gonna walk 14 miles and get this thing over with.
And what's hard is you can have the stage racers, so you've got all the guys that do all 3 events, or all the runners that do all 3 events, and then you have the day racers. So people come and just do one day, and the day 3 gets a bunch of people because it's just a 14-mile race, so you get a lot of people coming in. So all these people just shoot off the start.
You just hate those people.
Yeah,
like, oh my
you
God,
guys suck, man. There should be some kind of like time gap or something, because you're like, competitively, I'm like, I want to try to keep up with that guy, but you just can't.
And do you have a way of knowing who showed up on the? I mean, you're watching people.
It's the guy that runs past you and
that's going
goes,
fast,
"Hey, man, you're doing a great job.
Right.
Keep it up,
Yeah,
man. Pass it
exactly.
on your left."
Yeah.
Beautiful day. The trail looks great.
Anybody that's in a good mood, smiling, they're the ones that just came in. Yeah.
Man, I just can't even fathom, so the closest thing I've done to like what you're talking about is doing the Dopey Challenge at Disney World, 5K, 10K, half marathon, marathon. And that's not even remotely on the same level of what you're talking about. So I hate to make the comparison, but it's just it's the whole like recovery thing, that like Vaughn was focusing on and stuff. And I don't know, it's just it's hard for me to imagine.
I think for me, honestly, for not just recovery after a race, but even during a race especially the 100-milers, nutrition is what makes or breaks. Your ability to eat and stay hydrated will make or break a race for you.
What does that look like to you during the race? What do you carry on you, and what do you hammer?
Yeah, so Tailwind too. I love Tailwind. So Hammer products like a Hammer Heat, Hammer Heat or Tailwind. Either one of those are great products, and so generally I'm an 8 to 10 hour guy of just fluids and gels. I'll go the first 8 to 10 hours of and a 100-miler of just that, and then by usually my stomach will be in a state where I can then consume anything. I can go to an aid station to have a piece of pizza or something, and it doesn't bother me. But
so you're not terribly methodical as far as I'm going to do this. You go by feel.
Well, I'm very purposeful in my calorie intake. So like, a bottle of Tailwind or a bottle of Hammer, for example, for me, I try to target around 230 calories an hour. So whether that's through the fluids or through gels, I get the 220 calories an hour. Same with fluids, 24, 26 ounces of fluids per hour. So I'm very purposeful with that. Obviously it gets a little funky when you have, different aid gaps between aid stations. Maybe you're having to conserve a little bit of water if you're not carrying enough, or just wet. Like I got in an issue last year with a race that was just really cold. Like my gels were just almost frozen, and it just my nutrition fell off, and it impacted my race. So, but yeah, I focus on calories at least through that first 10 hours, and then it's a little bit more by feel. If my stomach's feeling good, I eat as much food as I can take in. In little bits. I think what a lot of racers do, they make a mistake if they go to the aid station and it's like a big buffet and they treat it like a buffet and, just gouge 800 calories in 3 minutes and then they get sick. So you have to pace your.
How did you arrive at 230 calories?
I just did some studies, some research on it, and just Googled and that generally what I've read is that's about the body's ability, for someone my size, the body's ability to absorb that many calories in an hour. Anything more than that's just going to sit in your stomach.
You think a lot of people eat too much, take in too many calories? And
too much, too fast. Yeah, too much, too fast. Like I said, they might not eat at all while they're running, and then they'll get to that aid station and down a whole bunch of food, and then they're wondering like why I get a stomach issue.
Yeah, or they do what I do and get to the aid station. It just doesn't. There's nothing here that I want to eat. And I'll be like, oh well, I'll just wait 5 miles.
I'll wait till the next one and see if it's
see what's there. I don't need to eat this.
Yeah.
And then by that time you're
starting to go down. Yeah, because you're depleted.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a really, you have to. Nutrition makes it when you get beyond that 5-6 hour distance or duration of racing, it makes or breaks your race. If you can't stay on top of your nutrition, you're just going to be you'll be death marching the rest of the race if you can't stay on top of it.
You have to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
Do you have any desire to do Barkley?
Yeah, absolutely. Barkley's it's intrigued me for years.
With your adventure racing background, I would think that would be right up your alley.
It was the first question that I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to be obnoxious. I didn't know if you get that probably all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely a race that's on my I don't know if I call it a bucket list race because you just know how.
You think it's doable?
I don't. That's what's crazy. I know.
It sounds like it's doable.
Yeah.
I know people that have. I
want you to do it.
You want me to? I know guys that have done it, that have tried it, that I consider like just incredible runners that, got 3 laps or got 2 laps and quit, And so that definitely makes you pause a little bit about the difficulty of it. And you just talk to people and it's just a different, most races are set up to allow you to be successful, whether through the aid station. This race is set up to make you fail.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of this race is to make you fail.
Nobody's trying to support you at all.
There's no support. There's no, nothing's accurate. It's not 5 20-mile loops like they say. It's like 26-mile loops. So everything's longer. Everything's more. There's more climbing than it's. Just nothing's what it seems there.
Well, and speaking of someone who would produce a race that would be designed to make someone fail, we talked about Sean Hillsden, and then Brian Williams, and them two together putting on the Walking Tall, Big Hill Pond 25K.
Are you going to be there?
Yeah, I've committed. I will either support the race if they need me to support, like I'll crew or work an aid station or sweep, whatever they need me to do, or if they don't need me, then I'll run it. So.
LHRL needs some people to help out with the aid station that we're running.
The one that hasn't been established.
Yet. Okay.
But Brian says he's going to spearhead this campaign.
Maybe that's what I should do, is do the aid station instead of running.
Well, why does he get to not run?
Well, first we need to make sure that they have a place where there could be an aid station. There may not be a need for one.
We're going to be the aid station at the top of the fire tower.
You're going to create.
We're like, even if that's not a thing.
That's my position.
That's what I'm saying. Even if that's not a thing, we're putting an aid station there.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Because everybody's going to be miserable and tired by the time that they get finished climbing to the top of that tower.
I could sit up there with a whole bunch of tailwind and some Snicker bars and some hot dogs.
And you're going to be everybody's best friend.
Oh.
Be in such a good mood, except you're going to have to be a little extroverted that day.
I know. I can do that. I need a win like that. I could do it.
Okay.
Well, but I'm telling you, Brian and Sean are going to have this thing locked down. There's not going to be room for you. Your help is not going to be wanted because you're going to be too late.
And we're gonna do it on our own. We're gonna create a rogue aid station.
A rogue aid station. We've told you, get out of here. They're gonna have you arrested. They're gonna have you carted off.
That's actually a brilliant idea.
It really is.
It didn't even occur to me to think that you could do that.
Like at the top of the fire tower?
Yeah. Is Brian listening right now?
I lost the feed, so I don't know.
Rogue aid stations are great too. I mean, I love them when they're out there.
It's like the beer, the hash. I'll sit up there with a cooler of beer.
Yeah. So
bottle of whiskey or something.
Talking about rogue aid stations, one of my favorite races that I've run recently was Little Rock Marathon, and the marathon course goes by all the craft breweries.
Oh yeah.
And so they're just out there setting up, and they're just handing out cups of beer as you're running by.
This is happening.
Well, y'all better get on it. It's going to take a lot of organization. It's going to take volunteers who aren't going to show up. I'm telling you, it's going to be more difficult of a thing.
I don't like your negativity.
I could do something like that by myself.
You do not understand
my
my ability to procrastinate and still make this successful.
Brian was kind enough to contact me and ask if I wanted to be a part of it. And I said, well, you know, LHRL doesn't have employees. Like we don't have, it's not like I can commit to there being this many people. And everybody seems to feel like you can, like they'll commit and they'll do it. And I just don't see anybody doing anything just altruistically. I see them committing to it, saying, "Yeah."
Oh, you don't know our friends.
I'm on this.
Our local community and friends.
I really want this to happen. I'm going
to make it happen.
Okay, and so now I'm kind of playing a psychological game by trying to tell him that he can't do it,
so that he'll prove you wrong.
Hoping
passive aggressive ninja move.
Right.
You remember what I told you? You remember what I told you last week when you brought this up?
That it was like 4 months away.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. I should get off of it. But I do have a question about the Big Hill Pond Walking Tall 25 and 50K. He showed that they've got medallions. They've got accomplishment medallions for getting up the water tower and finishing within the cutoff time of 9 hours.
Right.
Okay. I won't do that. But the cutoff time of 9 hours, will they pull you at 9 hours? Like, I'm not concerned about getting a DNF.
It depends on who the you. If you, they're not going to pull.
You don't think they'll let me finish it? Yeah. Okay.
Well, and also depends on what.
I don't mind getting
getting
listed as a DNF, but I would like to if I go out. I want to go ahead and finish the course.
I feel like we know people that could answer these questions.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll answer them honestly. Brian will tell me something, like give me some sort of riddle.
No, all you need is a water bottle, Ozarka water
bottle, and some road shoes that you bought in 1986, and you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
That's Brian's style. And if I ask Brian what the answer is, then he'll make me wax on, wax off, and figure something out. He won't give me a straight answer. And I can hear Sean Hillsdale giggling right now. He's definitely not. This 50K is going to be like a 70K, probably. It'll turn out to be something like that.
Yeah, because, while you're climbing the fire tower, that's like not distance. I mean, it's only like 10 feet.
Yeah, as the crow flies.
As the crow flies, it's only 10 feet. I mean, it's a 200-foot tall tower that you got to climb, but none of that counts.
So what do you have? What's your big? If you have one bucket list, you can only do one more race, and then you're going to be removed from the planet. What is that?
Hard rock.
Hard rock.
It's just such a kind of exclusive race to get into, and San Juan Mountains in Colorado, 33,000 feet of climbing, just total remote, everything that I think like ultra running really is made to be is that race encompasses it for me. But it's such a hard race to get into. So you have to do a qualifying race. There's only 22 qualifiers in the world. So you have to qualify, just do a qualifying race. And then all that does is allow you to put into the lottery. And then the lottery is broken up by different groups. So you've got like I think kind of a newbie lottery, so runners that have never done it. You've got a veterans lottery, and for the newbies, it's 150 slots and probably 4,000 runners putting in for it. So, this will be my 5th year putting in. So each year you get more tickets into the lottery, into the bucket. So
do you have to just run the qualifying race and finish, or is there a time?
There's no finish. There's no time as long as you finish one of those races. Just to have a finisher.
Right. Okay.
Yep. So
all right, and where can you be found? I don't ever see you around.
I'll tell you, man,
you've got like a mythical resume, like this guy really doesn't exist, and then I don't see you around.
I'm out, for training wise. I'm an early morning guy, so Saturday mornings, if I'm training up for a run, either Shelby Forest or Wolf River Trails, I'll be out there early getting 3-4 hours of running in.
Cool.
No website or online.
No, I'm on
Social
Facebook.
stuff.
Facebook's about the extent of it for me, and
Yeah.
I don't post a lot on there. I'm on there. And
He's going to go run Hard Rock 100, then write a book. And
That's
he's gonna be
right,
all
exactly.
over the place.
Yep.
And we'll say we knew you win.
That's right. Well, that's it, man. We're out of time.
Awesome.
I appreciate
thanks
you
for
coming
coming
out.
in.
here
Hey,
and doing
thanks. This is great. I really appreciate
this
you
is
guys
great.
having
I'm
me
so
on.
glad that Sean Hillsden linked us up
Yeah,
together.
absolutely.
And I hope to see you around at the trail, and I hope to stay in touch with you.
Yeah.
It's really a pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely. Pleasure
And
to meet you guys.
we will have a tent and stuff or something at Big Hill Pond.
I'm going to be in that tower.
I'm
What's
just saying.
gonna
Well,
happen.
we're camping out the night before, I guess, and
Right. And so,
Oh, nice.
and this will be good for you too. Once you finish with the Big Hill Pond, if you would come and help take my tent down, because I'm not capable. I've already got anxiety. I can't wait to set up and
Right.
enjoy the whole thing and put my tent up. But then
when he crosses the finish line,
I
he
need
wants
to
all
go
the stuff
home.
to already be in the
it's gotta
car.
be there or on fire. I'm bringing one match with me,
Just let it
and if it's
burn.
not already in the car, then
Burn it down.
done with.
Exactly.
Lift Heavy Run Long number 103 is in the books.
Thanks, everybody.